This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Warner Brothas Podcast. Welcome back. It's Kyle Warner, joined today by my boy Timmy G. Tim, what's up? How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Ready for, like you were saying before the pod, good slate of games. A lot of meaningful games, a lot of okay games, but it's going to be good.
It's a great slate. Week 14 was our last week of the buys. So we have a completely full slate for the first time since week 4, essentially. We've got the NBA Cup going on. We got the last UFC card of the year, if you're into that, going on today. So big sports day. Knicks just beat the Magic in the first round, or excuse me, in the semifinal of the Eastern Conference NBA Cup. And then we got Spurs trying to dethrone the Thunder, who are on an insane winning streak. And as Tim and I were just talking about, the books have them as like basically a 50-50 shot, if not even more than a 50-50 shot, to dethrone the Warriors' 73-9 record. So, Tim, before we get fully started, what are you most looking forward to tomorrow for the slate of games?
For football?
Indeed.
I think it's definitely just Ravens-Chiefs. Those are the two teams I'm looking, because I think the Chiefs will win out. The Ravens, I think, are the more intriguing team here, because we got to see. We'll know on Monday how the Steelers pan out, but they're playing without T.J. Watt. I think that could be a loss. Miami's been playing pretty well, so it could very quickly, if the Ravens win tomorrow, turn into what it was last week, where they're just tied again, and then nobody's made any headway either way. I think at that point Pittsburgh still has the tiebreaker, but they got to play each other one more time, right? So
Yep, week 18.
if we're picking a division winner, like people were out on the Ravens again after they lost, but they're really not that much further behind than they were last week. So in my mind, I'm really paying attention to the Ravens, and then do the Chiefs win out? Do they run the table? I don't know who they would make it in over, the Chiefs. I think their best bet is the Jags just like lose out, but that's like probably not going to happen, right? They play the Jets this week, and they're starting Brady Cook at QB, so like that should be an easy win. So I do think the Chiefs are probably out of it, but I'll still be paying attention because, if there's any team that can probably run the table, it's probably a Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid Chiefs team. So
I do think in theory they need to run the table. So you're correct about that. I think they really just need the Chargers to bounce out, though. I think if the Chargers lose more games than them, like if the Chiefs can get ahead of them, it's that. There's one other variable that's actually like makes it pretty, I want to say probable, but they're not all the way out yet. And I know the Chargers is one. I'd have to look up exactly the other scenario. It might just be win out and Chargers fall back. That might just be it. I could be wrong about that. We do a little search. They need a miracle, but it's still in play. So tomorrow, I mean, look, they win tomorrow.
7-7.
7-7. That'll be the big one. They need to win over the Chargers, who beat them in week 1.
Yep.
And I think they get all of the head-to-heads versus the Chargers as far as like who they each played. I think the Chiefs are actually ahead in that right now.
I don't know if have the Chargers played the Jags?
Yeah, they got killed a couple weeks ago, actually.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
So yeah, well, they're both 0-1 against the Jags. So I don't know on that. And then it defaults to conference record, doesn't it? Is a second head-to-head or second tiebreaker? That's confusing.
We'll have Keenan edit this out, but let me read this. They essentially gotta go 4-0. They got 2 wins in there, so they got to get the Chargers and the Broncos. LA needs to lose 2, and they've got a tough schedule. They need the Chargers to lose tomorrow in another game. And then the Colts, they need the Colts to not go 3-1. All right. They need the Colts to not go 3-1, and they need the Chargers to essentially go 2-2. And the Chargers got a tough schedule, and they need to win out on top of that.
Yep.
So not
Chiefs,
all the way out.
Chiefs, meanwhile, kind of have an easier schedule. They get the
They
Chargers.
got
That's
the
going to be
Raiders.
tough. They got the Broncos, I believe, one more time, but that could be a game where they're playing against benched players because if the Broncos have locked up the 1 seed by then. And then, yeah, there's one other easy team, Titans, I think.
Titans, Raiders,
Yep.
Chargers, Broncos. So you've got 2 wins right there in theory. And we'll talk about the game tomorrow. We could segue right into that, Tim, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to segue into the more important games. I'm going to start off with the bum games first. And then there's enough here. There's so many lopsided matchups this week. It's kind of funny. We don't really have many mid-tier matchups. We have a few. We've got more lopsided matchups, like, for instance, Eagles-Raiders. We have a lot of matchups like that. Giants-Commanders means nothing, essentially. And then we've got a lot of mini-playoff matchups on the other side of that. So let's start here. Let's start with your team. Commanders going to New York. Giants are favored by 2.5. What's the score, Tim? What you got here?
I think we get a pretty high-scoring game. Don't know what the over-under on this game is.
46 now.
Okay, I was going to say, it's probably like high 40s. I could see 50-something points here, like a 28-27 game, something like that. Neither of these teams have a defense. I think Washington will probably be able to run the ball pretty well, and I think the Giants should be able to pass and run the ball pretty well against the Commanders. So all in all, I think I'm going to take the Giants, which is risky business. Every time I've picked them, they've lost. So if you want to place a bet, go right ahead. Probably free money. I will take the Giants. I'll go 28-25. So I'll get them over 50 points. I'll get them to 53.
I'm going to go 25-15 Giants. I think the Giants have a good showing here. They're at home. Commander starting Marcus Mariota again. After, of course, Jane Daniels got injured again. Just very disappointed in the Commanders franchise this season. Next, we got the Raiders with Kenny Pickett starting at quarterback, going to Philly to face the Eagles. I mean, it's well documented the Eagles' struggles, but they're going to have a get-right spot here with a backup quarterback who was on their roster, by the way, last year in Kenny Pickett. Eagles are favored by 11.5. I mean, they could name their score here. I know they're struggling on offense. I know Jalen Hurts doesn't look great, but I'm going to call it 35-10 Eagles over the Raiders.
That's what it should be. Like, this should be pretty much, it's not the nail in the coffin. The Eagles need 2 more wins to be ahead of the Cowboys, right? Because they're 8-5. So if they can get to 7, or sorry, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I was thinking about the wins and losses backwards here, but they should.
You got it right, 8-5.
Yeah, they're 8-5 now, but they can afford pretty much 1 more loss, and then they're ahead of the Cowboys. So they can't afford 2. They're not going to lose this game. If they do lose, it'll be to Washington towards the end of the year there. So I think I'm not as convinced as you are. I'm definitely not going 35-10 here. I'll go 24-13.
Oh, man.
They should.
Wait. I just want to be clear. I mean, I don't want to get an in-depth discussion, but you've got the Raiders covering with Kenny Pickett.
Why not? We have seen crazier things, my boy. It doesn't take Kenny Pickett to cover the spread. It takes a kick return touchdown or a Jalen Hurts fumble on the 1-yard line or something like that puts him into scoring position. And then it takes a garbage time touchdown to get there. So if you're talking about Kenny, it's not Kenny Pickett covering the spread. It's Eagles failing to cover the spread is really what it is, because the offense should put up 40 on the Raiders, but I don't think they will. So, yeah, I'll take them to cover. I mean,
I'll give you one last chance to back out of this. Kenny Pickett double pick 6, that's in play. And if not,
that's very true.
Let's say 1 pick 6 and then interception that's returned into the red zone.
That's very true. No, can't do it. I just don't trust the Eagles. I just don't trust them.
All right. Raiders are awful, but hey.
They are awful.
I mean, this game will have 0 seconds of TV time tomorrow for me. Like, it will be not 1 second unless, like, Red Zone or I see it at halftime on, like, the highlights, but not 1 second.
Probably won't even be on Red Zone. I don't think there'll be any big enough plays that they're like, we got to show this on Red Zone, guys.
Might just be banned.
Send
Tim,
this game to China.
I got to tell you, while it just came to my mind, I had a dream last night. This is true. I had a dream. We were on the podcast. It was you, myself, and Keenan on the podcast. And we were talking about Mike McCarthy got hired by the Giants.
Oh, God.
Jason Garrett was the OC.
Oh, my God.
And Saquon was coming back to the Giants. He was going to be, like, in tandem with Scadaboo. And there was another free agent signing. I don't remember the name. Honestly, since it was a dream, it was probably not even a real player. But he was a receiver. He was a receiver we were talking about. So we'll have to look out for that. The
free
Mike
agent
McCarthy,
George Pickens.
Could be. It might have been. It seemed like it was a weirder name, but had to throw that out there. So we'll see if my deja vu comes true at all. Another meaningless game. Jags at home. They're hosting the Jets. They're favored by 13.5. Crazy to me that this is higher than the Eagles-Raiders line, even with the Eagles' struggles. I'll go ahead and name a score here. What's my man? Is it Brady Cook?
Yep. It's either Brady or Grady, and honestly, I don't know. So I think it's Brady Cook.
Yeah, it won't really matter unless they actually win, which it's the Jags. You never know, but they've actually been professional. They've actually been solid. Say 28-13. I'll give them the cover. I'll give them respect maybe when I shouldn't. 28-13 Jags. Shouts to Brandon Petty.
I won't give them the cover. I was going to say 28-10. I'll give them 31-10. Honestly, that's probably generous, saying that the Jets will be able to score a touchdown. Jags defenses look pretty good. So,
so we agree on the cover. We agree on the Jags covering then.
Oh, Jags covering. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying the Jets would cover, and I was a little worried there.
No, I got the Jags by 15.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll definitely take the Jags to cover easily.
But maybe if there would be a team to let us down on that, like if we were to bet the 13.5, there was a team to let us down, it would be the Jags.
If there's anything to bet, it's Commanders money line and parlay that into Jets plus whatever the points are, because that's exactly what's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay. Let me see the next meaningless game. All right, this is in the 4:00 window. Titans going to San Francisco. Man, another generous line here because I feel like, again, the Niners could name their score. 12.5 hosting the Titans. My goodness. I mean, let me give the Niners a 40. Let me give them a 40 ball. Let's say 41-18 over the Titans. How about that? That's giving the Titans some respect to get over 15. But, man, the Niners at home, I think they're coming off a bye as well. They didn't play last week, correct?
Coming off the bye, yep.
Jesus, man. And by the way, Brandon Ayuk probably will not play another game for the Niners. He's still on, or they took him off injured reserve, but put him on
a different list.
So, So, I mean, it's over for him. So, very interesting career turn he's taken. 41-18. Niners. That sounds like a scoregami.
Very well could be. Wouldn't surprise me if it is.
Could be.
I totally agree. I think coming off the bye, Shanahan, everybody's rested and healthy against the Titans. Yeah, they're gonna put up some points. So I'll give them 35. I'll give the Titans 7.
At least they got the extra point.
They did get the extra point this time. Yeah.
All right. Now we've got games where it's like for one team, they've got stakes. The other team, they don't really, but they could be good games. They could be whatever, but there's stakes nonetheless. Let's start in the 1:00 window. Let's go Browns going to Chicago to face the Bears. The Bears are favored by 7.5. I'm not sure of the weather in this game. If it were ugly weather, I could see the Browns staying in this game.
Define ugly weather.
Wind, snow, conditions.
Snow, no. Wind, yes. Cold, yes. They said this might be one of the coldest games in Chicago history.
Really?
Yes, with the wind chill,
Wow.
they said, I think they were saying it was down to like -20 with the wind chill.
That makes sense because the over-under is 38.5.
Yep.
Man, -20. What's the wind? Do you know the wind, like the MPH here? You know what we're
No
talking?
idea. I just know all week I've heard every podcast host talk about how it's going to be cold. Cold.
Let's get a quick look for Soldier Field in
It is Chicago.
It is the Windy City.
Windy City coming off the lake there. Fuck, give it 100-mile-an-hour winds.
It is currently 10 degrees there. It says it's going to be sunny around game time tomorrow. Up to 13 degrees. Let's give you the feels like. Right now, the feels like is -7. Let me give you the feels like for 1 p.m. tomorrow. Will it let me?
Maybe we're not that advanced as a society to know that yet.
Hold on, I should be able to. Here we go. Not as advanced yet. All right, wind chill gonna be 14 miles per hour. The feels like they're not giving me the feels like option. Interesting. I thought they normally give me that option. They will not. But I'm gonna take your word for it that it's gonna be -20 with the wind chill, 14 mile per hour winds. Man, with the over under being at 38.5, the Bears being favored by 7.5. That doesn't make sense with the total team. Let's call it. I'm going to give an over here. We're going to go 24-20. Shador keeps it close. There's a little more points than you think. 24-20 Bears.
My only guess on the line being this far was the Titans were able to run on Cleveland last week, and that's kind of like Chicago's bread and butter is running the ball really well. So I think that they were kind of putting that together. Personally, I think last week for the Browns was kind of a fluky game. I don't see them breaking off multiple 40-plus yard runs for touchdowns here. So I'm going under, and I'm going way under. I'll take the Bears 15-10.
I like it. You get a Shador in the Browns cover there too. This game is meaningful for the Texans. They are favored by 10.5 over the Cardinals. That's interesting to me because the Texans really struggle to score on the Chiefs, and in general, their offense can just go really quiet. I do expect them to beat the Cardinals tomorrow, especially being at home. Maybe it doesn't sound crazy because you know what? The Texans at home, they are kind of a different unit at home. They can get loud there. It's a dome. And man, all it would take is a Jacoby Brissett pick 6 to really get the ball rolling on a 10.5. 24-14. How about that? You do get a Cardinals cover, but you get a margin win for the Texans. So 24-14 Texans, they keep it rolling.
I think Houston is dialed in. I
agree.
This team is playing playoff games from here on out. They know that there's a good chance. There's not necessarily a good chance, but there's a damn decent chance that if they don't win the division, they're on the cusp of missing here. So they're playing playoff games. They're winning. This defense is only letting up 3 points tomorrow. They're going to win 20-3. They're going to cook them. The offense is going to look all right, but it's all defense here.
That's all they need is to do enough. You just need a couple Nico Collins plays. You need a couple. Their running game has improved a lot, which we
definitely
didn't.
is.
Woody Marks has given them a spark. They really just need Stroud to make a few deep balls, and not even deep balls. I mean, like even 15 to 20 yard balls, right? Because as long as you can just keep the ball moving, get first downs, get field goals, you're going to get at least one score. So I definitely get what you mean with the 20-3. I mean, that's feasible for sure. Tim, give me 60 seconds, and I'm going to segue this. Give me 60 seconds on the Thursday night game, Bucks and Falcons.
Bucks Falcons. We should have seen this coming. Kirk O'Chains is undefeated as a Falcon versus the Bucks, especially on prime time. This man knows how to sling it. I got 2 things. Kirk, no arm left whatsoever. There were 10 passes underthrown by like 7 yards, and you could see he was like trying to put it into it too. And then Baker, couldn't evade pressure at all to save his life. Like, there were just basic plays that he was just spinning and getting himself into like way more trouble than if he just like stepped up into the pocket and tried to like sling it downfield a little bit. That was kind of annoying. Also, loved Todd Bowles' post-game speech. Just dropping like 8 F-bombs on live television is amazing. So that was great. They were just bleep, 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 like
Todd Bowles of all coaches, who's like usually just like as mild-mannered as possible.
Usually very composed. This man was like letting his team have it, basically saying like, this is the playoffs. We need to win, and we're in, and we're playing against the goddamn 4-9 Falcons, and we couldn't get anything done. So, yeah, that's it. I definitely wasn't expecting them to come down from the deficit that they were at.
Not only that, I mean, the Falcons, Bucks had them, what was it? 2nd and 20? 2nd and 3rd? It was like 3rd and 20 they had them there at the end.
3rd and 28. They picked up like 12, and then they picked up like more than enough to get the first down on the next play.
Kirk made a big throw. Inexcusable. Yep. That's inexcusable.
Absolutely.
To the Bucks. I think at one point, Bucks were up 10 in the 4th. And I'm looking at it, and I'm watching the Falcons play, and I had the same thought I've really had all year when they've underachieved, which is, man, give this team a real coach and they could contend. I truly believe that. And if not contend, like at least be like what the Bucks are, right? At least like be in play for that division. And you know what? By the end of the game, I was thinking the same exact thing about the Tampa Bay Bucks. I was like, all right, I respect Bowles. I actually think he's been underrated for what he's done with the Bucks. But I mean, this is, and you got to give Baker some fault here too. Baker hasn't been what we've seen in the first, his first 8 weeks of the season. But Bowles very well might be on the hot seat if it falls all the way off. Very well might be on the hot seat. So I don't know. I actually said after week 6, I said the Eagles and the Bucks could be fraudulent if you look at their point differential. Because at that time, one of them was negative point differential. I believe the Bucks was negative point differential, and the Eagles were like plus. It was under 5 points. It was like +3 or something like that. I said they both could be fraudulent. Didn't know if I believed it at the time, but they were on watch for that. And lo and behold, they are two of the most fraudulent teams right now as far as their start and how the middle towards the end of their season has gone. Tim, I say all that to say, you got the Panthers. Let me get this right. Panthers going to New Orleans, favored by 2.5, with a chance to take control of the division. Who would have thought? How do you see this game playing out?
NFC South games, man, towards the end of the season, they're just ugly. Like
anybody's game.
Exactly. We get 5-point wins when the spread is 10.5, like all the time. And it's usually the other way around. It's usually an upset or something like that. I'll take Carolina. Not really confident in it, but I'll take it, and I'll say 17-14, close game, ugly game. But the Panthers have been quietly playing some competitive football. When you put them in prime time, they kind of just crumble. But other than that, they've been playing some decent football.
I agree with you. Kamara out for the Saints tomorrow. But there's always got to be one. And why not the Saints tomorrow? Because these, like you said, these NFC South games just get weird, especially Panthers and Saints. They're only getting 2.5. Why not? Give me the Saints 19-17 and an ugly one, game-winning field goal at the end for New Orleans. What else we got here for the halfway games before we get to the really good ones? You pretty much only got really good ones left. So let's get to it. You mentioned them in the beginning. You've got the Ravens going to Cincinnati. Ravens are favored by 2.5 over Cincinnati. Over under 50.5. You're into that. How do you see this game playing out?
Bengals are going to have to play this one without T. Higgins. I believe they've ruled him out, which is tough. I still think the offense will work. So I'll take it over the 50. Ravens 26-25. Just barely getting over.
Just over. I'm with you here, Tim. I think the Ravens win. I kind of, I talked about on the last podcast we did with Keenan the other day, like, where's Lamar? Like, what's Lamar doing? Like, he hasn't looked great. That being said, he actually looked better last week than he has in recent weeks. And I made the argument, and I'm sure tons of Ravens fans will make the argument. I mean, there was 3 very iffy calls that went against the Ravens last game. Even in that Bengals game 2 weeks ago, Isaiah Likely fumbles at the goal line. I mean, you could make a case that they very well could have got 2 wins between the Bengals and the Steelers in these last 2 weeks. Now you got the Bengals again. It's a revenge game. It's going to be another cold one. I believe it's going to be like 15, 20 degrees here. I don't know on the score, though. I want to go high scoring. The Ravens defense has shown up. I'm going to go a little lower scoring, and I'm actually going to and I feel like this should have been said like 20 different times this year. Granted, there's only been 14 games, 13 games. Let's say this should have been said at least 10 other times this year. This should be a big Derrick Henry game, and I'm not sure why they haven't leaned on him much more. This guy's got to be fresh because he seems like he's not getting nearly the amount of carries he should. Yeah, lean on Derrick Henry. 24-20. I got an under here. 24-20. Ravens pull it out. Let's call it $1.50 for Derrick Henry. Because why the Bengals can't stop him. Why wouldn't you lean on him, especially with a hurt Lamar? Yeah, I feel like Harbaugh's just not coaching this team very well. I don't think he's necessarily going to be gone after the season, even given what the Ravens Reddit, all that drama from last week. But I do think he at least gets one more year. But I'm not at all happy with how he's coached this team, how he's managed this team. Want to go right for the Colts Seahawks? You want to? Let's do it.
Sure thing.
Let's do Colts Seahawks. Colts are getting 13.5 points in Seattle. As you likely know by now, Phillip Rivers will be making the start at 44 years old, 5 years off from the NFL. Tim, what do you have the score here? How do you see this playing out with the Colts? Like, what's the game plan here?
Not great. I mean, I've seen some tape on Phillip, and he's sidearming everything, and he doesn't really have any arm strength anymore. So that could spell disaster, especially for a Seahawks team whose defense has been unreal this year.
At home too.
At home, it could be really ugly. They set his passing yard line at like 140. So I don't think that Vegas is expecting them to do anything. What'd you say the line was? 13.5?
13.5.
That's a lot of points, but Seattle's blown out a ton of teams by like 20-something. So
in the first half, even.
Exactly. It wouldn't surprise me. So go Seattle 31, Colts 14. They get a garbage time touchdown too, so I don't think it'll be close.
If you want to hear some disgustingness out of this, there's allegedly going to be some Tyler Warren quarterback packages in this game, from what I've heard. So we'll have the tight end apparently in some like version of Wildcat, which is insane because I guess he played quarterback in his high school past, maybe.
Mm-hmm. He is their emergency QB, so
we'll see some Tyler Warren. We're going to see a lot of Jonathan Taylor. I'll say this: if they can get Jonathan Taylor loose at all, and I do believe this Colts roster is one of the more talented rosters across the board. If you can get anything at all from Phillip Rivers, I will say, I did hear one reporter say his arm strength is still there and that they said like he's kind of taking it slow. Because I did see the same highlights you saw or the same like footage you saw from practice, and it did look rough. It did look just like slow and rough, but they're saying he's ramping it up and that in the private workout, it looked better than that. We'll see. It's really hard to see them covering 13.5 though. I don't think there's any way they can keep it close, but I do think it's either going to be a slight cover or an absolute annihilation, like one of the two. But no way in hell they win. No way in hell it's like a field goal game. I can't see it. I would almost take this like a preseason game if that's the case. Like if you're really planning on starting 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, okay, ease him in versus Seattle in Seattle. See what he can do. Obviously hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor as much as you can. and then the next 3 games, then you really treat it like, like it's Phillip Rivers from 5 years ago. Who, by the way, looked good the last time we saw him. Like, he definitely didn't look washed. Looked like he still had years ahead of him. Retired, obviously. So, I don't know. Treat it like a preseason game. I'm going to go, what do you call it, 30-13? I can't hear you.
31-14.
31-14. 35-20. That's being very generous, but 35-20 with a big Jonathan Taylor game, if possible, even though he hasn't been great on the road. But I can't wait. That's one of my favorite games tomorrow just because of the spectacle of it all. Next game, we are going to go Bills-Pats. Bills traveling to New England. Bills traveling to Gillette. Bills favored by 1.5 over the Pats. Tim, you had a great debate with my brother, 2 weeks ago about this team, about that the Pats really need to be tested. I'm in agreement with both of you. I both think the Pats are legit, but I also think they do need to be tested. And actually, let me just start it off here. I'm going to pick the Bills tomorrow. I don't think the Pats win. I think they split. Even bigger test, hypothetically, would be next week versus the Ravens, going to Baltimore. That'll be a Sunday night game. So we'll have 2 tests back-to-back for the Pats. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. It's 48.5. I picked a 24-20 already. Let's say 24-21. Bills at the gun over the Pats.
Keenan's going to hate me on this one. I'm taking the Bills to crush the Patriots. 34-17. They're going to double them up. They're going to run all over them this game.
Make the case.
James Cook, 150-2. Josh Allen's going to have 2 rushing touchdowns himself, with 1 passing. It's going to be do what they want on offense.
Let me counter you. Pats have probably the best run defense in the league. One of the best run defenses in the league.
I disagree. I think they've played weak-ass opponents, and it looks like they're the strongest.
Fair enough. But 150, you think they just have their way with them? You think that, like, this is the one, like, because they haven't allowed anybody over 50, I believe, except for a quarterback.
Well, the Bills are going for 300 tomorrow.
And then you think they do it on defense, too? You think Drake may turn the ball over more than once?
Maybe they just don't get the ball enough.
Okay. And then are you holding firm with the fact that they're going to lose to the Ravens as well? We're gonna keep that prediction. So back-to-back losses.
That'll be a closer game. That'll be like a 28-25 game or something like that. That game got flexed. That game got flexed too to primetime. So
it did get flexed Sunday night. Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time believing the Pats are going to lose back-to-back, but I also have a hard time believing they win this game. I have a hard time believing they're going to go 2-0 against Buffalo. I do know it's going to be cold in New England tomorrow as well. So I don't know. I could see it being a little more low scoring. Obviously, I picked a low scoring. It's an interesting game. But, man, the Bills, I don't know. I just can't imagine them losing twice to the Pats. And this would keep them technically alive for the division, too. They've got a bit of a tough schedule down the stretch, but they need this game. Josh Allen's playing like an MVP. Yeah, I got the Bills. I almost want to talk about Ravens-Pats for next week more, because that's a fascinating game to me. Because especially if the Pats are coming off a loss like we think, let's say the Ravens are coming off a win that's in Baltimore, that's going to be one of the more fascinating games. And especially if, let's say, Baltimore limps through this game with the Bengals, I don't know. That's gonna be the topic of a lot of discussion coming up. Tim, would you rather do the Sunday night game, or you want to do that last? Do you want to keep that in order and just go to the games that are before?
Yeah, the Sunday night game is kind of like the premier game this week. It's like the big one. So
Vikings, Cowboys. All right, let's do Chargers at Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 5.5. How do you see this game going? This was one of the ones that you want to feature on. So
I think when you first say it, 5.5 seems like a lot, but they really didn't look that good on Monday night. It was mainly like the capitalizing on turnovers. which I don't think the Chargers have a 6-turnover game defensively against the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess the line's probably right. Herbert, not healthy. They're obviously not trusting him to throw. They actually haven't been in the last 6 straight games. He has thrown less than 30 attempts, which is saying something because one of those games was like a 35-6 loss to Jacksonville. So that should have been a game that he was slinging that thing, and they weren't. So I'll take it 26-17. I'll have them cover. It makes sense. And the Chiefs, they're playoff games, and they're pretty good at winning playoff games, so I think they're going to be in it.
Nearly the same score. I'm going 27-17. This is also going to be a very cold weather game. West Coast team, tale as old as time. You can most of the time blind pick that situation. The West Coast team coming to a cold weather city outdoors. 27-17. It could honestly be uglier than that. So yeah, if you're a betting man, go hard on the Chiefs with the 5.5 there, because I think that's a gimme. I honestly still don't know how the Chargers won that game, other than obviously it was the turnovers, but they didn't even deserve that. I didn't think they played well offensively at all. When healthy, I do think they're a good team. I don't think they're great with all their injuries. But at least with Herbert healthy, I think they're a worthy competitor, as I had them in my tiers a couple weeks ago. But when he's hurt, on top of their offensive line issues, man, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. You see what it looks like Monday night. So the Chiefs should win this handily and keep their playoff hopes alive. You get the Packers. This is probably my other favorite game of the day. Packers going to Denver. Packers are favored by 1.5. This is the premier game of the 4:00 window. What do you think of this game? You're not big on the Broncos. You think they're a little fugazi along with the Pats. So how do you see this game playing out?
Definitely think the Broncos are flashback. I believe it was 2023 Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Where they were a high win team, but then they just fizzled out, lost the first round of the playoffs. It seems like a game that the Broncos could definitely win. They could just defensively keep this close. But the Packers have been playing really good offensively through the last month.
Mm-hmm.
I think they stay rolling. So I'm going to take them. I'll give it 22-20. I think that's kind of the game we get, right in that score range. It should be a close field goal game. Yeah, I think Jordan Love could quietly creep his way into MVP talks. Don't think he would win it, but I think he would at least get some spark, especially since we've always said the MVP is a narrative award. If you win towards the end of the season, it's going to look a lot better than if you load it up at the beginning of the season. So that's kind of what they've been doing. They've been winning. So if they were to take control and somehow become the 1 seed on the back of Jordan Love just slinging it around, I could totally see him creeping into that conversation.
I love this game. This is a fascinating game to me. The only thing I would say about the Broncos in comparison to that Eagles team is the Broncos do not seem to be petering out at this time, especially at home, and they seem to play up to the competition. So I agree with you. I think this is going to be a close game. I want to pick the Packers. I'm expected all weekend to pick the Packers. Where I have cause to pause is that Josh Jacobs is questionable, and now Emmanuel Wilson is questionable with an illness. So not really sure what they're getting out of the running back position. If you're going to win this game, I think you need to have a good ground game in Denver. That is a super tough place to play. And the reason why I like the Packers in this matchup is because they're a cold weather city going to Denver, which is tough, and it's going to be cold and da-da-da. But, man, if you don't got Josh Jacobs, you don't even have the backup there, then what? Then in theory, you still could sling it. And again, you're correct with the Packers playing much better over this past month than the months prior. They've been more consistent, especially through the air. I'm going to roll with the Packers here. I'm going to go, what was the score you gave it, 22-20? Yep. I'll give it the same score. Because I agree. I think it's going to be in that ballpark anyway. I think it's going to be a field goal game anyway, so I'll roll with the same score. if Jacobs and Wilson are unavailable, if they're just on the third string back, I think it'll be tough. They do have the talent to make up for it, especially through the air. But how much time is Jordan Love going to have? That would be the question. Because that Denver pass rush is for real. Last game in the 4:00 window, we get the Lions going to LA to face the Rams. The Stafford Jared Goff Bowl, as we call it. Rams are favored by 5.5. Lions just lost Brian Branch for the year. The Lions are all kinds of banged up. I actually saw a list earlier. Let me see if I can track it down. It was the highest number of players on IR. And the Lions were up there with 16 players. It was like them and two other teams had 16 players on IR. It seems like if the Lions lose this, it's over for them. So how do you feel like it's going to play out? You're a big Dan Campbell guy, been big on this Lions team. Do you think this is the end for them? Do you think they can pull it off?
I don't think it's the end, mainly because if somehow the Bears lose tomorrow, then they're still just one game behind them.
Sure.
And they got to play each other, I believe, one more time. So,
I believe so.
I'm flipping a coin here, man. We're going to get a barn burner. 38-35. I'm flipping a coin. Heads, it's Rams. Tails, it's Lions.
Virtual coin?
Virtual coin.
All right, let's see.
It's tails. We're taking the Lions. 38-35. Keeping the season alive, shaking up the 1 seed. If the Packers get a win, I believe that would put them in the 1 seed. Not positive there. I think the tie helps them with the 1 seed there.
Indeed, that's true. That is very true. Tim, I want to roll with you here. My problem is, and granted, you just went off the coin flip, but my problem is the Rams have the Seahawks next week. And my thing is, like, if the teams are close, I'm automatically picking a split, no matter where the game's played. Like, same with the Bills this week. I picked them over the Pats. I just don't see the Pats going 2-0 over them. I can't see the Rams beating the Seattle Seahawks twice. They barely beat them last time, even with 4 picks from Sam Darnold. And it's going to be in Seattle next week. But I can't see the Rams losing 2 straight either. But the Lions their backs are against the wall. And the reason why I think it's more over for them than other teams if they were to lose this game, even though they kind of do hinge on the Bears as well, their schedule's tough down the stretch. Lions just have I can pull it up here. They just got a rough 3 games after this game with the Rams. And all those injuries just add up too. I don't know. Let's see.
This was kind of the story of their season last year. They also had like 15 people on IR. Half the team was coming back, and then like a few people came back and got hurt again. And it's been really tough for them in the Dan Campbell era.
They could feasibly lose tomorrow and still kind of win out. They've got the Steelers at home. That should be a win. They've got the Vikings on the road, which the Vikings, they outmanned them last time. We saw that about a month ago. That's on Christmas Day, actually. I forgot about that. Lions, Vikings. But that'll be a playoff game for them, of course. And then they go to the Bears, which could be our Sunday night game, honestly, in Week 18. So, yeah, they still could be alive. I think it seems like they'd go 2-2 here. I don't know. I really want to pick the Lions because I feel like I've picked a lot of favorites here. But I don't know if they have the horses on defense keep up with the Rams. On offense, they do.
That's why I picked it so high scoring. This isn't a defensive game. It's got to be offensive.
Fuck it. 31-28 Lions. Let's go with it.
Hell yeah.
Lions by 3, field goal. And then the Sunday night game. Interesting one. Everyone's going to be on the Cowboys for this game. Vikings going to Dallas to face the Cowboys. Cowboys are favored by 6.5. J.J. McCarthy will be starting this game. How do you think it plays out? Do the Cowboys kind of make a run like me and you have kind of hinted at? Do you think the Vikings can kind of play spoiler here? How do you see it?
I think the Cowboys win. Too many points. We've seen J.J. McCarthy against a good defense can look like he needs to be on the streets working at Foot Locker. Against a bad defense, he can play. Against Washington, he looked fine. So I think he'll probably look okay, in between okay and good. He won't look bad, I don't think. I'll take it. Go on.
Does this mean you're not buying stock in how the Cowboys defense has looked as of the last 3 or 4
Well,
weeks?
I am, because I'm about to give the Vikings more points than they should probably score.
All right.
I'll take the Cowboys to win
Okay.
28-25.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I think it is going to be closer than what it should be. I'm going to go a little more low scoring. 24 is always the sweet spot for these games, but I'm going to go 24-20 Cowboys over the Vikings. It's either that. I don't know. I can't, for some reason, I cannot envision a Cowboys blowout tomorrow. I tell you this, Pickens better have a bounce back game. Because if he doesn't, if he at all looks like he's loafing it tomorrow, that's going to be the story coming out, win or lose. And that's not going to give you confidence if you're Dak Prescott, if you're that Dallas offense, if, your number 2 guy, who's at times, honestly, looked like their number 1, even like a 1B. If he's coming out of that game, and really the last 2 games just looking lazy, it could be free agent target George Pickens for the New York Giants next year. Because, he was looking like, the Steelers were a fool for letting him go. But you have games like that where he's given up on a ball that's seemingly right next to him that he could have, if not dived for, maybe just stretch his arms out a little bit, and maybe that's a different game. Doesn't bode well for him. Tim, this last game is very interesting to me, and it did not look this way about a month ago, but this actually will have playoff implications. Monday night, Miami Dolphins going to Pittsburgh, face the Steelers. Steelers are favored by 3. Just a flat 3 line. Steelers are the weirdest team in the league to me. They either look okay to good or they look awful. I don't think they ever have looked great. Maybe since week 1. That week 1 performance, maybe they look great. And they looked promising against the Colts that 1 week, probably about 4 to 6 weeks ago. But I can't say they've looked great, even against Baltimore last week, where they had a pretty good defensive game overall. I just never find myself impressed with them. You add that to that TJ Watt has is it a collapsed lung, or what happened here? This was like a Tyrod Taylor situation.
Yeah, they said he was receiving needle therapy or something, and they punctured his lung.
Oh my God.
And then it collapsed and he had to have surgery, which very well could be a 2-week absence. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't put him right back in.
Give him a prosthetic lung.
I think you said this is in Pittsburgh.
It is in Pittsburgh. It's going to be a cold weather game, and
that's good for Pittsburgh. Damn, I really want to pick against Pittsburgh, but the offense looked solid last week in Pittsburgh. They have a winning record, cold game versus Tua. All of those things should say Pittsburgh wins.
Indeed.
So it's going to be hard for me to pick against Pittsburgh. I need them to lose, though, so that the Ravens have something to play for. I need the Ravens to get close to Pittsburgh. But I just can't see it. Ugly 20-14 game. Tua has a bad game. Cold weather. Pittsburgh's tightening up towards the end of the season. Yeah, I'll take Pittsburgh.
You sound very enthused and confident.
I am not confident. Like I laid it out. They should win this game. Absolutely.
This is as stereotypical as a pick against the Dolphins type of game as you can get. And that's across not only anywhere across the Mike Tomlin era, but as I gave you before, hot weather team. This isn't a West Coast team, but you got a South Florida team going to Pittsburgh in December, where throughout the Midwest and Northeast, this is going to be cold this whole weekend into the beginning of next week. And Tua, historically, we saw it against the Browns a few weeks back, had a terrible game in bad weather. So you're right. Everything says to pick against the Dolphins here. The problem is the Steelers don't look inspiring at all, as I laid out prior. The Steelers just do not look inspiring in any one of these games, even in a win. Last week looked okay. I'm actually rolling with the Dolphins here. I think head up, they're the better team. If you got Tua throwing the ball 25 times, forget it. I don't think that's going to be the case. We've seen him be a game manager, essentially. Like, they're taking the ball out of his hands. Achane is playing. It's been Achane's team. They've become a run-heavy team. If that's the case, you should be able to just roll all over the Steelers. Almost call them the Thunder, as I'm watching the Thunder and the Spurs roll up here. You should be able to, you should be able to run all over the Steelers. And you should just reduce to a game manager. If you can get them to like 18 attempts, pick up those 2nd and 4s, maybe 3rd and 4s if you trust them that much. Like, he should be limited to that. Anything more than that, yeah, the Steelers should come out with a win. I'm going to pick the Dolphins here, 2017. Ugly game. It's crazy to say that. Even as I say that, I'm like, Tua in cold weather versus Aaron Rodgers, who's actually like a good cold weather quarterback. I still can't see it. So I'm about as enthused to pick the Dolphins as you are to pick the Steelers.
We should just switch, and it'll probably work out.
We'll see. You know what that means, Tim? It means that Monday night we're probably getting a tie. Maybe we'll get an 18-18 tie.
And that's how Pittsburgh gets in. Oh, my God.
Oh, boy. Imagine that. Imagine if it was 8-1 for Tomlin, so he's still...
Yeah.
Man, the more I'm talking about it, the more I can see it. Like, I feel like it's going to happen now.
I pray it does not work out like that. A tie would be terrible.
And I think Tomlin's had more than one tie in his tenure, if I remember correctly. I know for sure he has one, and it seems like he's got at least 2. So I'm rooting for the tie. Like, I can, like, see it. More than I could ever see a tie before, I can see a tie in this Dolphins and Steelers game. Tim, that wraps it up, though, for this week's games. We got a lot of mini playoff games. And, man, however we just picked them, I promise you, it's not going to go necessarily the opposite, but it'll get chaotic. It'll get chaotic tomorrow. One of these games is going to go into the 4th quarter looking like a regular old game, and then it's going to be like 17 or 20 combined points in the 4th quarter, and it just gets insane. So I can't wait. Rank the games tomorrow. What's your top 3 games?
I think Rams-Lions is number 1. I actually want to put the Giants game in because I think it'll be entertaining.
Interesting.
I think it'll be offensively entertaining. Neither team has a defense, man. It could be bad. It could be 50, 60 points, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit. I also want to say Seattle because I want to see Phillip Rivers. I would love to see him succeed, but I could also see him getting torn into 2 halves, and that wouldn't surprise me at all. So,
not another team movie style?
Yeah, exactly. 1 half back home.
Oh, good. Yeah, you know what? My top 3... Number 1's probably Broncos, Packers.
That'll be a good game for sure.
And number 2, and really that's more like I want to see how real the Broncos are in this case. You know, I think entertainment value. I do think it's going to be Rams-Lions. That's great. That's probably number 2 for me. And then number 3, Pats-Bills. That's a fascinating game. And then, yeah, I guess 3B would be the Colts going to Seattle because it's either going to be a shit show or it's going to be an incredible story. And again, I said it's either going to be like a cover. Like, that's my highest expectations is a cover or a shit show. And I expect more of a shit show.
Yep.
But there is a 2% chance, maybe a 5% chance that we get a friggin' Disney movie tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we got a 2-minute drill with Phillip Rivers in Seattle, the loudest place to play in the NFL, with some motion, with the chance to tie the game, with the chance to maybe go ahead in the game. I don't expect it. But hey, man, you said it with Kenny Pickett at the beginning of the pod. Crazier things would have happened in this league. This would be among the craziest if Phillip Rivers can just come anywhere near winning this ball game. But this was the Warner Brothas Podcast. Enjoy the games tomorrow. We got a lovely slate. We got a wild week 16 next week, and we'll be back to discuss everything that happened in week 15 on Wednesday. We're out here. Tim, have a good one.